Hey guys, it's Kim. For this week I'm going to be doing a different type of video altogether. This video is going to be more about my degree and what I studied in school, as I've been getting a lot of questions because nobody really understands what having a geography degree is. I still fully don't understand. I have the sheet of paper, that's pretty much about it. Like, I don't have a career in geography yet, but I can tell you my experience and stuff in school and the geography program itself. I'm sorry if you hear plows and snow blowers and stuff outside, just because we've had 60 centimeters of snow and this is our second snow day in a row, so I apologize for that. It's just there's great lighting, so I have to take advantage. So basically I went to attended university. I've graduated now about 2 years ago. I studied geography, but that wasn't originally what I went in for. I went in for originally to study education, and normally for most people you do a general year of general studies, and then you go ahead and you go into your program. Most programs you have to apply for. So for education you have to apply for. I applied for that for 3 years and never got in. And eventually I was like, okay, if I'm not getting in, this is a sign for something. So my friend and stuff just kind of looked at me and say, hey, I need to take this geography course. You want to take it with me? At this point in time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I said, okay, yeah, like, you know, I'll take it for fun. And I didn't want to take a course by myself. So I started taking a few geography courses with her, and then I kind of fell in love with geography and the stuff that you do, just because what most people think of with a geography degree is that you learn capital cities, you color, and you do maps. I was in school for 6 years. I might have done 2 maps on the computer, and that is it. And I don't know any capital cities. So yeah, like, that's your 2 major thing is people go, you color and you learn capital cities. That is not true at all. But the main thing with a geography degree is most people either focus on physical geography, which is like the physical aspects, so like land and the ocean and stuff like that, or there's cultural geography, which is more of like a human type of a thing. I did courses all over, so I didn't really concentrate solely on physical or solely on cultural. Like, I did natural resources, which is stuff that is like, I did a course in natural resources, I did cultural geography, I did physical geography, I did economic geography, which kind of looks at like your like economic geography looks at like your birth rate and your death rate and your national gross pay and all that kind of stuff. That kind of looks more like the money aspect of it. I did biogeography, which looks at plants and trees. I did natural disasters. That's like your floods, your hurricanes, stuff that you can't really stop. It's just something that's happening because of the way the earth is and because of climate change and stuff like that. I've done seas, which is basically, I just looked at like ocean. I learned about ocean animals. I learned about like the currents and stuff like that. There's a course, there's a fisheries course, which means you look at fisheries. I didn't get to do that one. I did another course. I can't remember the name of it. We did a thing and you look at like Parks Canada, and we did a thing where you had to look at, it was a historical geography? It might have been historical geography and stuff like that, where we had to do this big project where we had a house and stuff in our city, and you were given it and it survived the Great Fire, and you had to go in and change, and they're like the historical landmarks and the historical things where you can't change certain aspects of a house because it withstand the fire, and they want to keep that tradition and stuff throughout like the city and stuff like that. So they kind of have like, you know, your windows had to be a certain way, you have to have certain trim, you can only have certain colors, stuff like that. So we do a project and stuff like that. So my knowledge for geography is kind of like a wide spectrum of knowledge. Now, I can't really say I remember everything I've learned in school because I've been out for 2 years, but there's a lot of stuff you learned. Like, when I look back, my favorite course was probably biogeography, which, like, you know, we looked at plants, I had to know the scientific names and stuff like that. But geography is not just capital cities and stuff. It is way more knowledge than that. You can get a lot with geography. There's also a lot of people that have a geography go ahead and get GIS certificates, which is Geographical Information Systems. That's the course actually where I did make maps, and I learned through doing that course that GIS is not something that is good for me. I could not get the mapping thing down straight, like, you know, using Google Maps and making your own map from scratch. That is not something that I'm good at. So I learned from that. But for a lot of people, GIS is great, and it's a great way to get a job. Just it's not specifically for me. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm sorry I'm so rambling in this video. I just don't know what to say. There's just so much to say. But yeah, that's basically the broad spectrum of like geography and geography courses. The next question is, why did I spend 6 years? As I've answered before, the reason why I was at school for 6 years, most degrees are 4 or 5 years. I was 6 just because I spent 3 years, 3.5 years actually trying to get an education. So if you look at that, if I was at 6 years of school and I spent over 3.5 years doing it, basically I did, after I realized that, I basically did just geography courses after that to finish my degree in about 2.5 years to 3 years. Okay, and I also didn't take 5 courses every semester. By the end of it, I was taking maybe 2 or 3 per semester, just because with geography courses at my school in particular, most of the time they're only offered once per year. So it's very hard to kind of get into the particular courses that you need. And if you fail or do bad, then it adds an extra year onto your degree, okay? So your school could be different than mine, but that's just how it worked. Another thing is, some people think that geography and stuff is math based. It's not. I only did one, well, there's 2 probably geography courses that have math. One is cartography, which is your maps and stuff. I didn't do that one. And the second one was our, of course, it was required for us to do, that you had to do. It was basically like geography stats that we had to do, but I didn't find it that bad because math was originally my minor in school and I did statistics course. So I kind of had a background in it, which was fine. Another thing is, did I find my grades varied from high school to university? Yes. I will say for my first probably 2 or 3 years in university, I did not do very well. I found university very difficult, but it wasn't until I kind of got into the groove of, okay, I like geography, this is something I want to do. And then as soon as I kind of realized that, my marks and stuff started to go up. So I would say most part, your first year or so, your marks they will drop. Some people will drop significantly from high school, but they will go back up, okay? And you will, because I find too that as you start, you'll have like 200 people in a class, and by the end of it, I had like 15. So it's like you become like your own like little clan, if that makes sense, because you'll have the same people in multiple classes with you, and you kind of learn from each other and you become friends. So it's not like you're completely by yourself in a class of 200 people. Another question that I have is, do I regret going to university? No, but if I had my time back, I don't know if I would have done university, just because, not because of the degree I did. No, I love the degree I did, but just because I don't think university was probably the great thing for me to do. But when I was in high school, nobody talked about going to college. No one talked about doing trades or anything like that. Everyone just went, you have to go to university. So that's what I did. I just did what everybody else did. But when you look at my school in particular, you're basically only guaranteed a job when you graduate if you have 2 programs. One is engineering, but you had to be willing to move to Texas. Or the second one is nursing, and that can kind of be hit or miss. But if you do any other degree, you're not guaranteed a job. Oh, another thing too is, I had people ask me if I did a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. I did a Bachelor of Science. A Bachelor of Science is seen as a bit better than Bachelor of Arts. And I was willing enough to be able to switch between the 2, as I originally had a Bachelor of Arts, but I had the math courses and stuff done, and all the courses done. So I said, why am I going to do another research and writing course, which I hate research and writing? Why will I suffer myself through that to do a Bachelor of Arts when I have all the requirements done for a Bachelor of Science? So I switched. So if you can do a Bachelor of Science, I would suggest doing a Bachelor of Science over a Bachelor of Arts, just because to some employers it does seem better. Another question too I've been getting is, like, did I regret living at home during university? There's parts of me that says yes, and there's parts of me that says no. Just because, yes, I feel like I missed out on half the university life, but I'm not a partier. I'm not a person that goes out and goes downtown and goes drinking and does anything like that. I'm not a typical 20-odd-year-old. Like, that is not me at all. I don't drink. Like, I might drink once a year. So that part I don't miss. But then again, when I look at it too, I saved a lot of money by living at home with my parents. I now have my own car, so I was able to save up to have my own car. The only downside was that I went to school when my mom went to work, and I got picked up when my mom came home. So it's kind of like, if my classes finished at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I stayed there till 5. So like, that was kind of a downside, but then that also made me go do work in the library because there was nothing else I could do. I couldn't go home unless I wanted to take the bus. So yes, I kind of, but it's more of the sense of that I'm happy that I stayed at home during university, just because I was able to save more money Another question I get to is, did I go ahead and do a master's? I do not do a master's, and I don't plan on doing a master's. Master's program does help a lot of people, but I just found that after 6 years of schooling, after being in school for 13 years, it was kind of my end point. I was sick and tired of school by then, and I said no. And it can be hard to kind of get master's programs and get a teacher and stuff that is willing to work with you, as there is very limited topics. But I find a lot of people that do geography go ahead and do master's programs, or they go off and they do something else, like they'll do dentistry or something like that. Like they'll go ahead or be an eye doctor. So I want to say geography is more of like a stepping stone. So most people go ahead and do something else afterwards. I got questions on what kind of jobs you can get with a geography degree. You can work at places that have like most, you can get different jobs, but ones that are specifically for geography. A lot of people look for like Parks Canada or park jobs, something like that. You can be an interpreter, so like you need to know stuff about the land. So that kind of helps if you look into more the physical geography side. It's kind of hard because I truly haven't figured out what jobs you can get with a geography degree, as I'm still learning that and trying to realize the skills and stuff that I've learned through school and apply them to jobs. But as far as I know, that there's a very wide spectrum of jobs that you can get just because you've learned so much. Any advice I would give to geography students is just enjoy your time, learn, study, and remember stuff. I've after losing a lot of knowledge since when I did school, but I do have actually most of my textbooks from my geography degree down there just because I like the look of them. How horrible is that? Just because my city is actually, the city that I live in, is actually on the front cover of one of our textbooks, which I just think is like amazing because nobody knows about where we live. So to me, that is just awesome. I guess I'll kind of leave this video here. I'm sorry this kind of video is kind of all over the place. I didn't know how to film it. I didn't write anything down. I just had a few questions there on my phone that I've been asked a few times. Sorry if it's all over the place, but I guess we'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye!